One question to I wasn't able to completely hear everything, but how do you share your screen?
Alt S. You can do Alt S.
Oh, thank you.
But it's disabled right now, so.
Okay.
All right, guys, we're just waiting on a couple more participants to join, and then we will begin the meeting. Kindly check if your audio is connected and also unmute your mics for now. All right, that's great.
Can I not turn on my camera yet? Oh. Okay. Okay.
All right, so I think we can begin with today's session. Hello, everyone. We hope you are all doing well. We are extremely glad to see some familiar faces back with us again, and also plenty of new speakers and participants in today's webinar. So thank you all so much for the phenomenal response we received from students and parents all around the world on our previous session. Thank you so much. We're extremely grateful for your support. Thank you all for participating in this webinar, whether as a speaker or a participant. We definitely think that this session will be going over life skills for students and how to develop them. So I think without further ado, let's begin.
How do you feel?
All right, now let me request everyone to mute their mics.
Sound கம்மி பண்ண இதுக்கு ஹெட்ஃபோன் மாதிரி லைவ் வீடியோ ஸ்டார்ட் பண்ணல ஸ்டார்ட் வீடியோ போட வேண்டும் தெரியாது பேசிட்டு கேக்க.
All right, so let's begin with today's session. So now we'll be going over the agenda for today's session. First, we will begin by defining life skills and how they're so important to students. We'll be going over some crucial soft skills and how students can enhance these skills at home. We've also included a problem-solving activity, and that is riddles, because as today's topic is about life skills, problem-solving does come out in the category, so we've incorporated that as well. And finally, we'll be concluding with the speaker discussion. So here is where you'll be able to present your thoughts. All right, so I think we'll move on with the session. We kind of request everyone to mute their microphones.
If everyone mute their microphones.
No, microphone connect பண்ணிக்கோங்க.
All right, so let's move on.
Before we begin, we would like everyone to introduce themselves so we can get familiar with each other. You can share your name, where you're from, some of your hobbies, and just anything you would like to share with us all. So first, we have our guest speaker, Lagnesh from UK. Lagnesh, you can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. I hope everyone's doing fine. My name is Lagnesh, and I'm currently in India. Well, I'm doing my undergrad in BBA at Heriot University. Speaking of my hobbies, yeah, I love watching movies, and I'm also into sports like volleyball, running, swimming sometimes. So yeah, that's me.
All right,
Thank
that's
you.
great, Lagnesh. Next, we have Praveen from Singapore. You can go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Praveen. I live in Singapore. I'm in 7th grade or secondary 1. My hobbies are cricket and making YouTube videos or rollerblading.
Okay.
And yeah, that's pretty much it actually.
All right, that's
Thank
great.
you. Next, we have Rahul from Australia. You can go ahead.
Hi, I'm Rahul. I'm from Australia. I'm 14, currently in year 9. I like to play sport. I like to play music and read. I also do karate, and I'm a black belt.
Oh, okay.
Good.
That's great.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so next we have Maven from India. You can go ahead.
Neither from India ko diaspora.
Do we have Meda from India?
Sorry, that I was on mute. Okay, I'm currently in 10th. I love reading books and I'm kind of like a music addict. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, that's great. So now we have Mitra from the UK.
So can everyone hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, you're audible.
So hi everyone, my name is Mithra. I'm in year 6 and my favorite subjects at school are math and English. And I enjoy swimming as well. So that's it.
Okay, that's great.
Next, we have Sneha from India.
Do we have Sneha from India? Okay, I don't think Sneha is connected yet. Okay, next we have Sarmishta from India. You can go ahead.
Hey everyone, my name is Sarmasya. I live in Chennai, India, and I'm unofficially in 10th and officially somewhere in between. So yeah, and my hobbies are writing poetry, reading tech magazines, listening to music, and drawing.
Okay, that's great. Right, now we have Nivedita from India. You can go ahead. Nivedita, your mic is on mute. Can you please unmute it?
Yeah, sorry. I'm Nivedita. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. Good afternoon, everybody. Yeah. My name is Nivedita. I'm from India. I'm currently 15. I study in grade 10. So my hobbies are dancing, painting, and DIY crafts. My favorite subjects in school are social science and maths.
Okay, that's great.
So next, we have Ria from USA. You can go ahead.
Hi, my name is Ria, and I'm going to 6th grade this fall. Some hobbies I have are dancing, singing, and I love playing freeze tag and a few other games with my family.
Okay, well, that's great. Now we have Girish from Australia. You can go ahead.
Hello, my name is Girish. I'm in the 9th grade, and my hobbies are playing chess and video games.
Okay, that's great.
And reading books.
Okay. So now we have Pranav from India. You can go ahead.
Hi, I'm Pranav from India. I live in Chennai, India, and I study in 10th grade. I love catching up on the news, reading books, and I love writing.
Okay, that's great. So I think now that we all know a little bit about each other, we can go ahead with the session. All right, can you guys see the slides?
Yeah, now we can.
All right. Okay, so let's begin with the session.
1 second. I'm sorry, but there's so much background noise. I'm not sure where it's coming from.
Yeah, can we please request everyone to mute their mics right now? All the participants and speakers can mute their mics right now. All right. All right, that's great. So let's get started.
So what are life skills and why are they significant for students? Well, first of all, life skills are skills that we need to manage activities and challenges in everyday life with. In the constantly changing environment, having life skills is really essential for every one of us to meet challenges in everyday life. To cope with the increasing pace and change in modern life, students need new skills such as the ability to handle challenging situations.
All right, so now let's move on to some of the crucial soft skills that students must be equipped with in the 21st century. Now, the first one is effective communication. So I'm pretty sure it's well understood that communication is one of the most predominant skills that students must be equipped with in the 21st century. Because bottom line, communication, it all starts with a word. And good communication skills are definitely a prerequisite for everyone in all walks of life. because inefficient communication, not only does it preclude us from putting forward ideas, thoughts, and maybe even crucial information, but it also doesn't allow us to establish a human connection. And that's what communication is. It's a human connection. And we all know how vital that is to life. So by enhancing your communication skills, not only will you be able to put important points across, increase your self-confidence, but you'll also be able to achieve other traits such as leadership traits, and thereby also develop collaborative skills. So I think you can understand that communication is a very predominant skill. It's tied with all. Okay, can we just have all of the participants mute their mics, please?
Yeah,
There's quite a lot of background noise.
We request everyone to mute their
mics.
microphones.
All right, as I said, communication is quite a predominant skill. It's tied in with all these other life skills as well. And that's why we believe that students should be equipped with this in the 21st century.
Skill is empathy. Empathy is the ability to imagine what life is like for others. To have success with your loved ones and with society, we must understand and care about the desires and feelings of other people. Without empathy, our communications with others will just amount to one-way traffic. Empathy also allows us to accept others, even if they're very different from us. This helps social interactions and situations with ethnic and cultural diversity.
Definitely. I think you can all see here how communication plays a major role in this too, because in order to show empathy, you'll have to communicate effectively. Now moving on to problem solving and critical thinking skills. Now it's quite understood that problem solving skills help us deal with challenging situations or problems in a very constructive manner. And basically, I know that we've all faced challenges in our life and we will sometime in the future. And to leave these problems unsolved, it will definitely lead to unnecessary stress and frustration. That's why we believe that from a young age that students must be enhancing and developing their problem solving skills and critical thinking skills. So this way, not only will we prevent unnecessary stress, frustration, but most importantly, students will know how to make the best use out of any situation.
I'm pretty sure that every one of us know what the word leadership means. It is to lead a particular group of people or even an organization and make good decisions on your own. I think that initiative plays a major role in leadership because if you take the initiative to start or lead something, you automatically become a leader and therefore have leadership qualities. As mentioned by Bill Gates, if you look ahead in the next century, he says leaders will be the ones who empower others.
Definitely.
So now we have the benefits of life skills for individuals, for employment, and in society. So let's start with individuals. You can make good decisions and understand why you make certain choices. It builds confidence in spoken skills and collaboration, and we can recognize the impact of our actions and responsibilities.
Definitely. And I think who we are as an individual would definitely affect it as a whole in society. All right, now coming to the benefits of life skills for employment. I think it's pretty much understood that life skills will definitely allow you to build those team working skills, to the ability to self-manage, to tackle like challenging situations, and really just understand your entire environment a lot better. And this actually brings me to the topic, where a while ago, the CEO of Tech Mahindra, CP Gurgani, had stated that 94% of engineering students in India they were not fit to be employed. And why is this? Well, a major part of this is due to the lack of soft skills and these critical life skills. So I believe that by developing and enhancing these life skills early on, we can definitely tackle the problem of unemployment and we can also bring the rates down. And this does not only apply to India or a certain country, but definitely all over the world. And now coming to the role that life skills plays in society. Well, it's quite well known. The benefit of life skills is that it will definitely give exposure to social awareness, and that will allow us to respect diversities. And this is where I bring in a very important point, and that is why students and kids should be learning these life skills early on. That is, as we grow and as we develop, we'll have this positive imprint on our mind, which tells us to be respectful towards other people. And that way, on a whole, we can develop a more tolerant and respectful society.
Definitely. We can also recognize cultural awareness and citizenship. Overall, life skills will enable us to play a really good role in society.
That's right. Okay, so you're probably wondering, how do we develop or enhance these life skills at home? Now, if you surf the net, you'll probably see a lot of different methods and resources that you can use. But the resource that we recommend the most is definitely taking online courses. And I don't think a lot of people see how valuable online courses are, because it gives you the opportunity and that flexibility to learn anywhere, anytime, and at your learning pace. So basically, whether it's at home or whether you're traveling, whether you're on the bus to school, as long as you have a device, there's really nothing stopping you from learning. And actually, in the past couple of days, Harpan and I have done a lot of online courses. We've done courses on mastery of skills and communication. We've done public speaking courses and a lot of other ones. And we've definitely got a lot of valuable insight. So I think we're on lockdown right now. We have a lot of time on our hands. So take this time, maybe an hour or 30 minutes of each day to enroll yourself in a course. And that actually brings me to another great point is due to this whole COVID-19 situation, a lot of great platforms are actually offering their online courses for a much more affordable price. And some platforms are also offering their courses completely for free. So I think it's always best to make the best use of the opportunity. So definitely go ahead and enroll yourself in a course, and you'll see how that will create such a positive impact on self-development.
So now we have a really interesting riddle activity for you guys. So the aim of this activity is for you to use your problem solving and critical thinking skills to solve these riddles. So are you guys ready?
So I think everyone can unmute their microphones for this one. We'll give you a couple of seconds to unmute your microphones because we want everyone to take part in this.
Is it the number 8?
Okay, we've already got an answer. Okay, I think we'll repeat the riddle for now. That's all right. We'll repeat the riddle for those who didn't get it.
Turn me on my side and I'm everything. Cut me in half and I'm nothing. What am I?
Eight. Okay, yeah, so we've got a couple of answers. Any more answers other than 8?
Should I explain? Or?
All right, hold on. We'll let you explain. Okay, are there any other different answers? Any different numbers?
No.
No. Okay, I think everyone's pretty honest.
Yeah, if you put 8 on its side, it's actually the infinity symbol. And if you cut in half, it amounts to 0.
So I think people are very good at riddles. All right, let's move on to the next riddle. You're in a dark room with a candle, a wood stick, and a gas lamp. You only have one match. So what do you light first? Match. The match. That's good. Okay, match. Candle.
Match.
Match. Match. The answer is the match because you'll obviously have to light the match first in order to light the candle, the wood stub, or the gas lamp. Okay, let's move on to the next riddle.
What 5-letter word becomes shorter when you add 2 letters to it?
Short. Okay, you guys know most of these. Yep, that is the answer, short. Because when you add E and R, it becomes shorter. I have cities but no houses. I have mountains but no trees. I have water but no fish. What am I? Okay, I think you guys already got the answer. The answer is a map. Okay, let's move on to the next riddle.
What English word has 3 consecutive double letters?
I think this should be a little tricky. Bookkeeper. Okay, wow. That's correct. That is correct. It has double O, double K, and double E. Okay, let's move on to the next one. What can travel around the world while staying in a corner?
Stamp.
Stamp. Okay, that is right. It is stamp. Okay.
What 2 things could you never eat for breakfast?
Lunch and dinner.
Lunch and dinner. Really good at riddles. This is probably a really simple question. Yeah, the answer is lunch and dinner. That brings us to the end of our solving riddles activity. Give yourself a huge round of applause and appreciation because I'm pretty sure you all got those correct. Okay, so now this brings us to the most awaited part of today's session, and that is the speaker's discussion. So here is where you'll be able to present your thoughts, views, and ideas on the topic, and we are definitely looking forward to hearing the
So we request everyone to mute your microphones.
Okay, we request everyone to mute their microphones. We will be announcing the speaker and unmuting only the speaker's microphone. So everyone,
Can you just repeat that? I couldn't hear anything.
we request everyone to mute their microphones. We'll be unmuting only the speaker's microphone. All right.
Okay, so first we have our guest speaker, Lagnesh from UK. You can go ahead with your presentation.
So Lagnesh, you can unmute your microphone.
Give me a minute. I'll share my screen. Okay.
Sure.
Well, you have disabled.
All right, sure. Hold on. I'll enable that. Okay, yeah. You should be able to share your screen now. All right.
Shall we begin?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Well, hello everyone. Once again, I'm Lagnesh. Developing essential life skills at a young age. Hey, mute, please. Mute your microphones, please.
All right, I think this is okay.
Life skills at a very young age could.
You're muted.
All right, Lagnesh, you can unmute your microphone.
Required wherever you go in your life. All right. So the first and foremost being your communication skill. Well, how many of you here think, all right, fine, forget it. Well, communication is just an act of transferring information. All right, and this could be done in 4 different ways: through visually, which is your logos, symbols, Google Maps, great example. Vocally, through your speeches, webinars. Next one's the written. Written part, well, it's basically your journals, articles, newspapers, so on. And the last one is your non-verbal. Well, non-verbal is a way of communication which involves your gestures, your hand movement, your eye contact, your appearance, and so on. The list keeps on going. Yeah, as you can see, these are something that's very important for someone to engage with people effectively, given in a social gathering or even in your professional life. Yeah, communication is a pillar of every other soft skills, which is the main reason I want to emphasize more on it, right? So now that we know a little bit about what communication is, let's look at the different ways one could improve the skill. All right, the first one is being an engaged listener. So communication is a two-way process, receiving and sending information. Yeah, so you need to be a good receiver in order to understand what the other person is saying and how he's feeling. This in return would help you to build a stronger relationship with them. You can, if you see, you can actually understand more than what they're saying, but that's only if you listen to them carefully. So start listening up to people when you're in conversations, right? So second one is speaking straight. Communication begins with you. Yeah, just speak up to people. Okay? You can be a great communicator who can speak with anyone with confidence. Yeah, it's not going to be easy in the beginning, but practice makes it perfect. So just try practicing that, speaking up straight with people, and believe me, this will help you a long way in your life. Okay, and the third one is your non-verbal communication. Well, I would like to share a small fact. 93% of your communication is non-verbal. Did you know that? Yeah. So like I previously stated, they are your appearance, your eye contact, your gestures, etc., etc. So these are the key factors that is good, that's required for a good communicator, right? Well, if you see they're actually in you, all you need to do is you need to just bring them out. That could be done if you're confident and comfortable speaking with the person next to you. Just express yourself. That's all it takes. Yeah, again, it's not possible overnight. So keep practicing, speaking up to people often, you'll get there. If you see, these 3 points are correlated with each other, I mean, interlinked with each other, actually. One does not exist, could not be achieved without the other, yeah, to be a good communicator. So try practicing the skill wherever you are, because this is one of the most demanded soft skills that this 21st century requires. All right, so the other 2 important soft skills would be your teamwork and your adaptability. So teamwork is nothing but group of people communicating, cooperating together in order to achieve a certain goal. Okay. So the saying that together we stand, divided we fall fits perfectly with this skill, because few ordinary people together could do so many extraordinary things. Actually, if you see, teamwork correlates with communication. This correlates because a good leader with good communication skills is someone who could nurture a culture of openness within the team, which is very significant for teamwork. Yeah, so the adaptability. Next one, adaptability is nothing but your quality of adjusting to any new or changed conditions. All right, it goes hand in hand with flexibility, because since that's what helps you to adapt to any given situation. All right, one cliche example I would like to share with you regarding adaptability would be the story of a plant on a stream. So there's this river that's flowing. And there's this tree that's on the bank of the river, and there was also a plant right next to the tree. So one fine day, the water rose up, yeah, and a branch from the tree was submerged into the water, and so was the plant next to it. So after a few minutes, the branch was not able to withstand the pressure, and it just broke. Whereas on the other hand, the plant was able to survive the pressure because it flexed itself to the direction of the flow. So the takeaway from the story is that one needs to be flexible enough, no matter the situation. You need to be flexible enough to handle it. If you want to be stubborn about it, then yeah, you're going to end up like the branch. So try to be flexible, even with your family members in the house. All right. So the next aspect of this webinar would be your effectiveness of the school education system. Well, there is no yes or no answer to this, but I think it completely depends upon what you want to become. Say, for example, you want to become a doctor or a lawyer. Then yeah, this education system is great enough to mold you for the profession. But if you want to do something different, for example, you want to become an entrepreneur, then that's completely different case. Because the school education system, they do not teach you how to make money work for you, but instead they want you to be a great employee who really works for a good paycheck every month. Yeah. Anyways, the whole point of education is to gain knowledge, right? But that's not the case right now. Everyone are behind grades, and that's what matters the most in current scenario. But things are changing. There are new curriculums that are being introduced in Indian education system, such as your international baccalaureate, A-levels, and there are so many others too. I have done international baccalaureate myself, and I personally think it's a great curriculum that one could pursue, since it really trains you for the profession you want to pursue, later on in your life. Well, that said, end of the day, it's really not your degree that speaks, but you see, it's what you do in life that matters the most. All right. One small piece of advice I would like to give you young students is that it's your habits and your attitude that really shape you as a person in this world. All right. So try to incorporate more of good habits into your life, and always try to stay positive with a positive attitude wherever you go. Yeah. And this will, believe me, this will bring you a lot of success in your life, wherever and however you are. With that said, I'd like to conclude my speech. Thank you. All right. Yeah. Continue. Because we'll have this question answer session towards the end, right?
Yeah, we will.
Sure.
All right.
So thank you so much, Lagnesh, for your thoughts and the insightful story of the plant and the stream. The 4 ways of transferring information was a really good point that you mentioned.
Can't hear
And
you.
also the point that you mentioned about the school education system, I think we all know the current scenario is all about the grades, the exams, and the tests. And a lot of curriculums are all literacy based. They're all about just textbooks. But yeah, as you said, curriculums are changing. We have the IB program. So I definitely think that a lot of education systems to look towards more of life skills. We need to build the next leaders and entrepreneurs, as you said as well. So that was really good. Thanks for sharing that with us. All right, so now it's time for our next speaker, and that is Praveen from Singapore. So Praveen, you can go ahead. All right, Praveen, you can go ahead with your presentation.
Can I screen share?
Yeah, sure, you can.
Just please give me 5 minutes. I'll need to.
All right.
Can you see my screen?
Yeah, we can. You can go ahead.
Okay, so this is my presentation for the Learning Brought Home, the life skills for students. The introduction we already did. These are some essential skills students should have today. Critical thinking, problem solving, collaboration across networks and leading by influence, effective oral and written communication, accessing and analyzing information. You can use like socially, it's very easy to, how do you say?
Okay, all right, I think Praveen's facing some technical difficulties. We'll go ahead with the next speaker, and Praveen will get back to you, so you can share it out again, okay?
So now we have Rahul from Australia. You can go ahead.
Yep, 1 second. Okay, so already done the speaker introduction. So some of the essential skills that students have in the world today are probably like creativity. Like, as you said, creativity is needed for like the leaders of the world, and everyone needs to use creativity to like, creativity is even used in like problem solving when you're like trying to like get out of a situation you don't want to be in. You need to be creative to find a way out of it. Another skill is probably like, now I think in lots of schools children are like learning to like touch type, and I initially thought it wasn't like worth my time, so like I didn't do it, but like now I did, and it's really beneficial. Like, lots of people in my school could touch type. They wouldn't even look at the screen. They would be talking to me and typing, and their brain is just doing two things at once. And I found that really beneficial for me. It's because technology is getting more and more advanced. So like lots of what we do is online. Even if we weren't in lockdown, you wouldn't go up if you had to like talk to someone. Most of the time, you wouldn't go to the face and talk to them unless they're like your neighbor or something. You would normally call them and ask how they're going, and everything's online. So with touch typing, I found before I touch typed, I would have to like think about where my fingers were going on the keys and like remember what I'm typing. And half the time I'd forget what I was doing. So like with touch typing, you're not even like thinking about where your fingers are going. It's already like muscle memory, and I found that's a really good skill to have. And it's like a key skill for like many jobs and education. Some soft skills in the 21st century, problem solving. and creativity, as I said before, and teamwork. Because teamwork is you need teamwork in the workspace and school, especially. You may not like who you're gonna have to cooperate with, but yeah, you have to do that to get things done. And another one's leadership. Even if like no one steps up and takes that role as like a leader of whatever, like a sport or like your team, if you take that, you can learn how to like manage people. And there'd always be this like one kid who would try to get on your nerves, and you can learn to manage that. And that's a really beneficial skill to have. We can develop these skills at home by firstly you want to like find out what skills you lack. I wasn't very good at public speaking, so I was pretty nervous when speaking like in front of an audience. So well, what I did was I joined public speaking at my school, and really helped me learn how to like speak in front of an audience without like getting nervous. And like um studies have like proven that you're more nervous when you're speaking in front of people that you actually know, because you're scared that you're going to get embarrassed. But like when you're speaking in front of random people that you don't know, actually proven that you're more confident. And like with clubs at school and all the online courses that are available right now, you can easily develop the skills. The school education system, it effectively equips students for like specific jobs, like mostly like it said factory workers. And like school may teach you like many life skills, but I have a few subjects at school. Like one of them is physical development, and teaches you how to manage stress, mental health, and like bullying and things like that. And that's a very good subject. I didn't have in my other school, but like it's key, and it helps students like manage what's really going on, because that's overlooked lots of the time. And you may be like very good at like maths or English or something, but your mental health isn't good, and that can affect everything. So my school helps everyone with that. And also the teachers there are pretty good, and they'll stick around after class to help you. But you can't rely on that system, because they can only teach you so much, and you got to take it further by yourself and be independent. Online learning at home, one pro of that is many people work at different paces, and at school you will have a set time period you need to finish that work. And if you're a slow worker, you won't be able to finish that work in time, and that may mean that you're rushing and not actually learning and just getting pushed. But with online learning, you have freedom over that. But with that said, it's pretty hard to manage your time, because like with school you've got your timetable and stuff, but you got to manage your time efficiently, and you can't take too long on one thing. And another pro you can get from online learning is as I said, management and independence. So like you can learn to independently work and not like get off topic, and like do what you're supposed to do. And also with wait a con of online learning is that actually, yeah, con of online learning is that if you were to ask your teacher something, well, one of my teachers, my science teacher, responds very quickly, because the emails are linked to her phone, so she responds very quickly. But my geography teacher, for example, she has a 2-year-old child, so like it's very hard for her to manage a few classes plus her child, so she takes quite a bit of time to reply, and that can be that's not a really good thing, because if you're learning and you still got a set time schedule to do that work, and you may not be able to finish that in time, and that can put like a lot of pressure on you. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Rahul. Your points were really insightful. And you brought up public speaking, and that actually reminds me, there was a statement that was made that said when a group of people were asked to go on stage and, present a speech in front of a large crowd, the majority of them actually preferred death than rather to go on stage and present a speech. So it's quite, clear. A lot of people have a fear of public speaking because they're feared of messing up or being embarrassed. But I think it's really important that we overcome these fears, because these skills, these communication skills, they're definitely going to play a pivotal role in our future. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Rahul.
So next we have Maida from India. You can go ahead.
Maida, can you unmute your microphone?
Hey guys, I don't have any PowerPoint kind of like planned or something. I was just going to generally talk about life skills. So basically, as children of the 21st century, we might have asked ourselves many times, what should we do more to kind of like succeed in school or anything? So my opinion is life skills, basically in a constantly changing environment, having life skills is very essential. Being able to meet like challenges of everyday life, or to cope up with, the increasing pace or change in modern life or anything. And it basically helps students to find new ways of thinking, building confidence, building their personal development. You have, they learn to, group collaboration. And it also helps them to analyze opinions and make decisions. I think we all would have known that, though every year there are millions of students who graduate from so many different colleges with top scores, not all of them get employed. And according to employers, the reason is that they're not just looking for academic success, but like key skills also, which include like leadership, self-management, group collaboration, people management skills, which is extremely important. You need to learn how to manage different types of people and their ability to adapt to any situation. But for someone like us, it can also include like different things like psychological resilience. I think that is very important because it helps us maintain a balance of our lives during any like stressful times, and it protects students from developing any like mental health difficulties. And this is extremely important, during a century like the 21st century, where almost everything and anything is a competition. You're always compared, and it can always be kind of stressful for any student. And the next one is communication. I don't think I need to talk about communication that much. We all know about it. It helps people clarify any misunderstandings. You get clarity on some opinions and everything. Next one is public speaking. Like he said, I think it is extremely important. Not only does it give you knowledge on a particular topic that you're talking about, but the preparation that goes into a speech and the fact that you have to learn how to convey your message to a crowd effectively teaches you a lot about communication. Also, it gives a person a lot of courage. It's a lot of personal development also. And the next one I want to talk about is emotional intelligence. I feel that this is one of the most important ones. So emotional intelligence is basically our capacity for resilience, motivation, empathy, and so many human qualities. I call them human qualities. And I feel it matters a lot because if it's cultivated in the proper way, you can lead a more fulfilled and more happy life, kind of. And I just want to run through a few divisions of emotional intelligence. So the first one is called self-regulation. It's basically the ability to manage your own negative emotions. And the people who are skilled in this kind of adapt well to change and are more likely to take on responsibility. So it kind of impacts your life a lot. The next one is motivation. So the ability to self-motivate with the focus of kind of achieving internal or self-gratification. Yeah, self-gratification as opposed to external praise is also extremely important for character development. And the people who do this in a really good way can be more committed and more goal focused. And the last one that I want to go through is empathy. Like you guys mentioned before, empathy is extremely important, not only for communication, but for your life as well. It helps you recognize and understand how other people are feeling in those situations. and allows you to react in a certain way. And it allows the individual to understand the dynamics that influence a relationship, like may it be a personal one or like workplace or school or anywhere. To sum it all up, basically, I think we should take life skills very seriously because it can affect a person's life really, really tremendously. And other than the ones I just talked about, there were other ones like laid down by the WHO, which include like critical thinking, creative thinking, decision making, and one of the most important ones, which is coping up with stress and pressure. So if you're going to talk about how to develop these at home, I think the first one, which would be creative thinking. One way you can kind of develop creative thinking at home is kind of doing any like creative writing, doing some artwork where in any situation that you need to think a lot, like using mind maps or exploring the unknown, just go read about a topic that you have no idea about and try to connect it to what you're learning in that particular, situation. Another one is critical thinking. And a way to improve critical thinking is just asking very basic questions, like how does this fall down, or anything kind of. And always having what if scenarios, always be like, what if this happens, or questioning basic assumptions in any situation. Another one I think is also very important is decision making and responsibility, especially during this time of like the COVID time. Decision making and responsibility is very, very important. Like when you're going out, you need to think, okay, do you really need to go out? Is it like essential? You have to weigh out the pros and the cons and then act accordingly. Even when you go out, you need to act responsibly, as a responsible citizen, by maintaining social distancing and practicing, healthy hygiene and all of that, not only to keep yourself safe, but also others. And the next one I want to just run through is time management. So staying at home for like around a month and a half, it depends on place to place, but we've been engaged in various activities like online school and maybe like extracurricular. There's so many people doing dance, instruments, or even like online competitions also. And I think it is extremely important to manage this time very, very, effectively, because you cannot get this time back again. I do not think again in life will you have so much time to work on yourself. And but you can manage this time by not only just having a plan or a schedule or a routine, by just having a list of things that you want to accomplish during this period of time, and also giving yourself some relaxation time, because that is also very important, because it can also be very stressful during this time. And the last one, coming to stress, is coping up with stress and pressure. So right now it might not be as much, but once school starts, I think we all know how much stress and pressure we're going to receive, because schools are going to start rushing to finish their portions. And one way to cope up with stress and pressure is like just exercise, meditation, self-motivation. And I think one important thing that not a lot of people talk about is what I call finding yourself. So I think you just need to give yourself some time and understand what you want, what relaxes you, because few people like to watch TV to relax, few people don't. So I think that's very important. And another one is, we've learned the importance of life skills, but my opinion on if schools teach this is yes and no. Like the other said, I feel the school can only do so much. It can only teach you responsibility for your homework, because you get scolded if you don't do your homework. Communication with your teachers, you need to learn how to communicate with them effectively and actually in a very respectful way. You cannot talk to your teachers like you talk to your friends. And the schools don't always teach you other things like emotional intelligence, and I feel it is something that they must educate us about. And the thing is, they cannot do so much. I feel like these are things that students need to learn through personal experiences, and that is why I feel like social interactions outside of school are extremely important, because you can only learn them through personal experiences. You cannot learn emotional intelligence or anything through the books. It's something you need experience. And coming to the last thing, about online teaching. So I have a different opinion on online teaching. Is it good? Is it bad? I'm not sure. I think it's kind of good, because one of the good things are, once you have created that good online content, you can reuse it. Like for example, Byju's, they don't create videos every single day. They just reuse the ones that they have. So because of that, it can also, you can have more flexibility in your schedule. Like you don't have to, rush to do something like when you are in school. And lower costs. We don't exactly have this right now, but like for online courses, like Harpita said before, they're costing, it costs us a little less than actual like a school academic year. And the last one is, you can't exactly miss a class. This is like a good thing and a bad thing, I guess. It's always recorded. I mean, like you can use like technology and record a class if you want to, and always like view it later. And when we're coming to the cons, I feel like online teaching is very like it's challenging compared to teaching face to face, and it may not be for everybody because I think it's something that we're actually just coming to know right now. Like I don't think online teaching was something like there like few years back. Because of the COVID, it's starting to kind of grow now, and it's very hard. I am not sure if you realize, but it's very hard to keep the students motivated through the camera that we're talking through and through the web. And like last one I want to talk about is if we're looking through the student's point of view, but when we look through the teacher's point of view, I think it's also very hard for them because they have so many things that they need to do that we do not know of, and yet we always think, well, like, oh, she's not doing it well, oh, he's not doing it well, like the mic's not good. But we always have looked through their perspective also, and I think that's very important. And the last one I just want to talk about is having online teaching is actually very, you need a lot of self-discipline and a lot of time management for this. So this can be a pro and a con. I think it can be a pro because you need to self-develop on it, but it can also be a con because it's such a sudden change that it can also lead to a lot of pressure. So thank you guys. I hope you guys are enjoying this seminar as much as I am, and thank you for listening in. I hope you guys are staying safe during this time of unexpected crisis, like not going out for any like unnecessary things, and giving back to the community as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Rita, for sharing that with us. I think it's really great how you brought upon the point of emotional intelligence. And as you said, you're right. Schools can only do so much. These things are things that students must take the initiative. We must learn independently. And also, as you talked about self-regulation, that actually reminded me of a phrase that I came upon in another online course that was called kill ants. And basically, ants stands for automated negative thoughts. So I think it's really important that we focus on our positive thoughts because essentially our thoughts are really just going to affect our goals. It's going to affect who we are as a person. So once again, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Meda.
Yep.
So next we have Mitra from UK. You can begin.
Okay, Mitra,
Can I share my screen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure,
sure.
you can.
Okay. Yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Mithra, and what is this? So hi everyone. My name is Mithra, and I'm going to talk about the life skills needed for students and kids. So there are 7 skills I'm going to talk about today: focus and self-control, perspective taking, communication, connection making, critical thinking, taking on challenges, and self-direct engaged learning. I'll just flick through this. So focus is the ability to concentrate on a task and which helps kids learn and improve. It builds self-confidence and self-esteem, which helps children throughout their lives. Self-confidence, it helps children stay calm and in difficult situations. It helps control impulses and temptations. For example, trying not to eat a chocolate bar, unlike this kid. So perspective taking is looking from someone else's point of view in a situation. So you have to understand them and make observations about the other person's reaction. So communication is arguably the most important life skill that's needed for children. So there are 5 types of communication skills I'm going to share with you: listening, straight talk, nonverbal communication, stress management, and emotional control. Listening, well, if you're talking with someone and you listen carefully, the speaker will feel more open and free to share their ideas and thoughts. Straight talk is just a friendly conversation, and people watching you just talk with your friends. They'll subconsciously note that they can just come to you and talk freely about their feelings. Nonverbal, like some people said, 93% of all communication is nonverbal. So how people gesture and how they move is going to affect, is going to tell who you are, really. Stress management. Well, if you're so stressed very often, then it's going to affect how you like send nonverbal signals and probably going to confuse the other person and lead to a conflict, which shouldn't have happened. And feelings play a really important role in communication. So because your feelings guide how you send your nonverbal signals, and if you don't control them, you're gonna act a way you'll regret. So critical thinking is basically making connections and who's drawing? Connection making. So connection making like helps children understand the world better. And like Adam Galinsky, a famous psychologist, said, true learning occurs when we see connections between seemingly disparate things. And children really need to start making connections by like organizing their toys or something like that. So critical thinking means analyzing information and making decisions with it. To achieve critical thinking, you need to construct theories, take risks, try out your new ideas, make mistakes, and most importantly, learn from them, and find solutions. So adults are a really good example for when you want to know someone to do like critical thinking, because they have to make a lot of decisions in their lives and then every day. So taking on challenges. This skill is all about resilience, like trying out new things, bouncing back from failure, and keep trying. So self-directed, engaged learning. A child who loves learning grows up to be an adult who never gets bored with life. So this promotes creativity and self-confidence and self-esteem. So thank you for listening to me. I hope you like my presentation.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing
Thank you.
that with us, Mithra. And your points about communication were definitely really good. I think that it is true. When it comes to being an effective communicator, it's not just getting your words right, but you have to, there are a lot of things that come inside of it. There's emotions, there are your actions, your perspective, and all of these really play a key role in being a good communicator and having effective communication skills. So once again, thank you so much, Mithra.
Now we have Sneha from India.
So Sneha, you can go ahead. You can unmute your microphone.
Hello everyone, I'm Sneha. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. You're audible.
Yeah, okay. Okay. Speaking of skills, there are two types, as you know, hard skills and soft skills. Hard skills deals with something which are teachable, like writing, reading, etc. Whereas soft skills are personality traits, such as leadership, communication, etc. For a person to achieve in his or her life, soft skills are more important than hard skills. Coming to the 21st century skills, they transform students into versatilities. That is, these skills widen our experiences and gives us new roles. Some of the 21st century skills are problem solving, as you said, teamwork, and creative thinking, networking, technology, and it goes on. One of the main 21st century skills is analytical thinking. I like this a bit because it deals with separating the facts, taking the key points, and creating patterns from which we can understand so easily. A generation ago, teachers could only expect students that what they taught would last their lifelong. But because of today's economical and technological growth, schools have to prepare students for jobs that have not yet been created. About the self-development, guys, we can develop our skills only when we are curious about it. Consider life as a treadmill. You have to keep moving to stand still. If you stop moving, you fall behind. The same way, you must take some interest in improving your skills. Only then we can achieve whatever we want. Like the first step goes like finding our own interest and then pursuing it. Guys, keep learning. That will make you shine. And about the school education system, I think virtual learning will be a bit exciting for students. This will make them more curious about their skills and improve more knowledge. Online learning. Online learning has equal number of pros as well as cons. One of the main pros is that we can learn whatever we want, wherever we want, and whenever we want. And during this quarantine is its main advantage. One of the cons is that we lack time management. Online learning and time management are correlated. We need to spend our time in learning. Only then we can learn with e-classes. Yeah, guys. Thank you. That's my point.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Neha.
Yeah, and thank you for sharing your thoughts and perspectives and life skills. And it's really essential for every one of us to be equipped with the 21st century skills.
Yeah, and definitely, you also made a really good point that said if we want to take some action, if we want to work towards a goal, it's really all up to us. It's up to our own initiative. And I think that a lot of students should definitely not, fall back on the school education system, or fall back on teachers or other people, their parents, to do the work, because really, essentially, it's really up to us whether we want to take the initiative or not. All right, so next we have Sarmishta from India. You can go ahead.
Hey everyone, so our topic for today is life skills for students, and I want to start with defining what life skills mean first. They're basically abilities that help us to effectively deal with challenges, which is why they're so important. Some examples of life skills are negotiation, communication, problem solving, empathy, and even leadership skills. So there are a lot of skills which are grouped into life skills. Among these, the most prominent are 21st century skills and soft skills. So 21st century skills consist of the 4 C's, which are collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking. So I want to tell you guys with an example. So when Satya Nadella took charge of Microsoft in 2014, Microsoft was losing their user base and business was becoming stagnant, with mobiles becoming an integral part of the work environment. So Microsoft had a shot at building mobile operating system based on Windows, but it did not take off. So meanwhile, Apple and Google became strong players with their mobile ecosystems, and they became really good in the market and almost occupied all the market share, leaving no room for Microsoft. So to pull Microsoft out of that, Satya Nadella made very important decisions early into his tenure. So he made a decision to make Microsoft applications like Word, Excel, and PowerPoint available to all Samsung devices and Apple devices free of cost. So this is a huge decision considering that Microsoft has always been rivals with Apple, and it had legal issues with Samsung because of which they didn't have a good relationship. So he still went and did it because it was critical for Microsoft's strategy, which was then mobile first and cloud first. He stepped up and forged these partnerships, which helped Microsoft to increase their user base significantly. This is a true example of how a leader with great life skills can create opportunities in complex situations using 21st century skills. So coming to the current academic curriculum, does it alone effectively equip us for the future? Well, there's no definite answer. It's yes and no. Of course, all schools are putting an effort to include life skills training as a part of the curriculum, which can be imparted through case studies, guest lectures, and classroom discussions. This is still an ongoing process, and definitely there is scope to do a lot more. For example, in our school, we have guest lectures by alumni from different disciplines and class discussions, which are all very helpful and informative. And since we're all stuck at our homes, it's become increasingly a challenge to learn life lessons. But I'm finding that reading helps a lot. Recently, I finished this book called Hatching Twitter, and it gave me really deep insights into how large tech companies operate and the importance of transparency and integrity and how to be true to your core values without changing yourself for the success of your company. And I read this other book called How to Build a Car, and it told me about how to cope with failure and relentlessly have focus till you get to our goal without diverting in between. So yeah. Coming to online learning, the sources of online learning have grown immensely in the past few years. There are a number of platforms, and most of them are free of cost or at minimum cost, like Khan Academy, Udemy, Unacademy, and Byju's. I myself have been a student of Khan Academy for 6 years. So in addition to the school support, if there are complex topics which I don't understand, I really go to these sites because they help me a lot. And nowadays, with online classes, these sites are really helping me a lot. And post-COVID, we have Microsoft Teams and interaction with teachers and classmates, but these are not a replacement for an actual classroom interaction, but it comes very close. So yeah, and I'd like to end by saying that the whole world is going through a very tough time, but after this crisis subsides, we will come out stronger than ever. And even though our lives might be very different, if there's one thing we humans have, it's our resilience and the will to move forward. Thank you for listening to me.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us, Sarmishta. And I think you really made a good point, which is reading. Reading can definitely help us enhance these skills. And when it comes to self-development as well, there are many great authors like books by Robin Sharma. He writes a lot about self-development. So I think everyone can definitely go and maybe pick out a book on self-development during these times since we have a lot of time in our hands. All right, so now we have Nivedita from India. You can go ahead.
Share my screen?
Yeah, we can hear you. And you can share your screen too. Are you able to share your screen, Nivedita?
Yeah, I shared the screen. Can you move?
All right, yeah.
Okay, sure.
Can you see it?
Yeah, we can. You can go ahead.
Yeah. One minute. So good afternoon and a warm welcome to all of you. So I'm here to share my thoughts on the topic life skills for students. Let's look at some of the essential skills for students in the today's world. So communication is one of the most important skills for students. This includes listening, verbal and non-verbal skills. So able communicators can explain complex issues easily. Good listening skills will help you learn and respond correctly in different circumstances. Verbal and non-verbal skills are important in collaborating with others. Accountability or leadership. Self-motivation. Having a positive attitude is a vital soft skill for students. It shows that you don't need any constant supervision. Leadership. Students with strong leadership skills will have the ability to inspire others and lead the team to success. Accountability. Taking responsibility not only means taking ownership, but also means taking the initiative to make improvements, accepting responsibilities for any failures, and really caring about working your way to success. Teamwork. Working in a team towards a common goal requires the intuition to know when to be a leader and when to be a listener. And then we move on to problem solving. Problem solving does not just require analytical, creative, and critical skills, but a particular mindset. Approach a problem with a cool and a level head. Problems need not always be solved alone. The ability to know who can help you reach a solution and how can they do it can be of great advantage. And time management, it is very essential for students. It can help them during their exams to prioritize and prepare. Creativity. So students need to be creative in their approach in every aspect, and it helps them it helps them understand the world in a better way and come up with answers that show the world a totally a new perspective. So these are what we call as soft skills. So what are soft skills? Soft skills are personal attributes that enable someone to interact effectively with other people. So these are some of the 21st century skills in the ways of thinking and in the ways of working. In the case of thinking, creativity, critical thinking, problem solving, and metacognition are very important for deep thinking and powerful learning. So, what is metacognition? Metacognition is the analysis of one's own thinking process. So communication and collaboration skills are essential in the ways of working. So information and technology literacies are the important tools for working. Citizenship, life skills, personal responsibility are essential for living in this world. So, so how to develop soft skills at home? So you can build your vocabulary by learning a new word every day. You can practice public speaking in front of the mirror. You can play games, especially board games. These games help you to increase many skills um, like taking turns, following rules, controlling emotions, and many more. Play a team sport. Sports Sports can help us learn communication and decision making skills. Handle challenging situations with a role play. Identify a simple fun skill to learn learn like learning a new game. So now let's move on to the school education system. So there's a disconnect between the education and the industry because of the outdated syllabus and no hands-on experience. So the solution to get the students to be work ready in the future is to follow these. Revise or update the syllabus with focus on research and project work. So the students need to be exposed to practical learning, and the students should also be assessed to um, practical learning. Sorry. The students should be assessed on their thinking and problem solving abilities. So, pros and cons of online learning at home. You can choose your own course and learn at your own pace. That is increased flexibility, and there are many online portals which we can easily access. And these online courses are even affordable. So the cons of online learning can be not all the courses you want to learn can be available, and there cannot be much interactions in an online class, especially when it is not instructor led, and it requires personal discipline, time management, and organizing skills. So, technical skills may get you the job, but soft skills lead you to success. So, focus on your soft skill and develop them. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so
Thank you.
much, Nivedita, for sharing that with us. I think you went over some of the key 21st century skills and soft skills that students require. All right.
So now we have Ria from USA. You can go ahead.
Can I share my screen?
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
sure.
can.
Where do I go?
Are you able to share your screen? There's an option at the bottom of the screen called share screen. You should be able to do it with that.
Yeah. A different way of education. So, as you all know, in this crisis, we all learn at home. Learning at home on an online app is very different than the way that we're all used to. Usually, we all go to school about at 7 o'clock and learn with our teachers. When you learn online, you have many distractions online and from your family. For example, you might only have 2 computers for 4 people, which means that you need to share. And the time you get, you may not be able to finish your work. So, what are 21st century skills? There are these 4 C's: communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and creativity. Communication. For communication, you need to be able to share ideas with the person next to you. Say that you are in a team and you need to tell the person next to you something. You need to know the right way to communicate to them. Collaboration. Collaboration is very similar to working in a team. Collaboration is where you have to tell the other person what you want to tell in the right way. Critical thinking. This combines with problem solving. Critical thinking. You need to make sure that you can solve the problem the right way. You don't want to make it bigger and you want to solve it. Creativity. For creativity would work in teamwork and leadership. When you're in a team and you need to lead the team, you need creativity to show your team some ways that you can that you can make it not run into problems and that you can get a successful outcome. Ways to develop these skills at home. Here are a few ways to develop these skills at home. You can always use your critical thinking to help you to decide when to communicate with your family in the right way. Once you communicate it in the wrong way, you can't take your words back. Take risks when doing ethical decision making, like when deciding when to eat ice cream or pizza. Use creativity and leadership when working in a team with your family to do critical problem solving. If you just give up, your team will lose hope in you. My opinion on school system. I live in Forsyth County, and this is the platform. So when you log in, you see this, and there are many platforms. If you guys can see in the left bottom corner, there's a lifeguard pool there. They also take their time to do really cool things with this platform. They, depending on the season, they add cool things for the students to try out, and they always constantly add new apps for you to work on. Some of them are very educational, while others are fun, just fun apps. Mayon, Epic, those apps are for reading. So there's many apps like this, and I think that the school system has done their best. So pros and cons of online learning. Pros, it's globally accessible. It's a time saver. For time saver, I would say that really you don't have to wait if you're a fast worker, because most teachers say for you to finish it, maybe like you need to really go with your class is what they would say. So you can work at your own pace, and this would help if you were slow or fast. Convenient timing. So usually what you would do is go to school probably early morning or in the morning, and you would come back after like 7 hours. But this, you can wake up whenever you need to, and you can finish it. You can have breaks once in a while. And then wide variety of options. Like I said, there's many apps which you can go through and you can use. It saves money. So say that you go to school every day. In our school, you have to use money to eat lunch, and if it's a different school, you might need to pay for it. Now, if you're at home, then that means that you can save money on it. Direct interaction. So it might not be the best thing. It's not the same as being in a classroom listening to your teacher teaching, but it is very similar to you on a Google Meet or on a Zoom meeting. Some cons are lack of peer interaction. So if you go to school, you see your friends every day and you play with them at recess. But now you cannot do that. And they tell you not to go out very often. So that's a big con. Lack of accreditation, high distraction in the internet. There are lots of things that pop up when you go to the app that you need, and it can distract you a big time. So if, say, I'm going into Mayon to read, there's many other books that might not be my age that I might need to go into, or I'm going into a different app. I will get distracted, something that lots of students run into. Need to be self-disciplined. So that is kind of like a convenient timing and time saver. So you wake up late and you do your work late. my teacher actually mentioned that one boy only turns in his work at 10 o'clock. So this is not self-discipline because he probably wakes up so late and does his work late and does a lot of breaks. And in school, just because you have online learning, that doesn't mean that you can do whatever you want because you're still in school and you need to act according to that. Lack of hands-on learning. So at school, your teacher might give you paper to write on, or you might have a test on paper, or you might do some hands-on activity that helps you learn the thing. But now at home, everybody has to do it on the computer, which also is hard for the people that need visual learning or they need to touch hands-on learning to do it properly. Thanks for watching.
Yeah, it's really good that you mentioned the point on how students can develop these soft skills at home, because I'm pretty sure we're all in lockdown or quarantine now, and we can invest our time in self-development and self-mastery and enhance our skills and knowledge.
And definitely, as you said, it's really important that we're self-disciplined when it comes to online learning as well. Okay, so now we have Girish from Australia. You can go ahead.
Can you just wait a minute since I'm going to share my screen?
All right, sure.
Sure.
Can you see my screen? Can you see the PowerPoint?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
can.
Okay. Learning brought home life skills for students. So, hello, my name is Girish, and I will be talking about life skills for students. I've already talked about all of this information already, so I will go back to the topic. Essential skills. So, essential skills that students must have in today's world. Well, what skills students must have in today's world are communication skills, soft skills, adaptive thinking, and critical thinking and inquiry. Now I'll go into further detail about them. Communication skills is the ability to communicate effectively. This key skill leads to confidence and better self-esteem. And the better we are at it, the easier it would be for us to communicate with others and learn many things from them. Whenever we communicate, listen, or express information with others, we enhance our presence of mind, memory, and even sometimes intelligence, depending on the conversation. Good communication skills helps in career development, enhances teamwork and collaboration between students in order to make them more prepared for the future, where they work with other people. Next is soft skills. Soft skills are non-academic skills that students need to acquire and develop in order to succeed. These skills are critical to develop a student's social and emotional skills, critical thinking skills, and skills that facilitate positivity to interact with others and to get equipped with the ability to overcome challenges and be a successful team player. While students can easily test their knowledge by doing tests, which is not a soft skill, they rarely take time to reflect on their own work, which is a soft skill, be it successes or failures. Students need to be able to judge their own resolve and persistence and highlight areas where they could improvise. Deliberately adding reflection on soft skills will aid students to set goals and improve their educational experience and pave way to success. Now, next is adaptive thinking. In this digital age, we can all relate to the fact of things are constantly and rapidly changing, and adaptability reigns supreme. The need for adaptability has never been greatest than it is now. By the time we learn to use a new software or program, a better version of it is already on site. To cope with change, we need to continuously adapt to changing conditions and be able to learn quickly and efficiently. This quote of Charles Darwin sums up adaptability perfectly. It is not the strongest of the species that survives, nor the most intelligent. It is the one that is the most adaptable to change. Finally, critical thinking and inquiry. The improvement of critical and inquiry-based learning is very important to make our connection with what we learn instead of just memorizing things such as ideas, definitions, or formulas. We need to reflect on what we are learning so we're able to learn more about something, which may eventually be used to make new concepts. Now, for adaptive thinking and critical thinking, they're pretty similar if you put them in a situation. For example, think of them as two students. One student thinks of a new way to solve the problem that's faster, while the other student adapts to, uses that method, which is how he adapts to the change. You could say that's how adaptive thinking and critical thinking could be like. Now next, 21st century skills and soft skills. Each of these skills can be broken down into three categories: learning skills, literacy skills, and life skills. For learning skills, there is critical thinking, creativity, collaboration, and communication. For literacy skills is information, media, and technology. And finally, for life skills is flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. Now I will go into even more further detail about them. So creativity empowers students to see concepts in a different light, which leads to innovation. Pretty much it means thinking outside the box. Collaboration means working with others, achieving compromises, and get the best possible results from solving a problem. Communications means talking to others, and it's a crucial skill to learn how to effectively convey ideas among different personality types. And finally, critical thinking is the most important quality. It's what helps students figure stuff out for themselves when they don't have a teacher at their disposal, which is easily more apparent now than it was before. Next, for literacy skills, there's information literacy, which is understanding facts, figures, statistics, and data, and discerning if they're fact or fiction. Media literacy, which is understanding the methods and outlets in which information is published. So pretty much it means who made it, what time it was made, who it was published by, and pretty much what media outlet it is being published in. Now for technology literacy, it goes another step further to teach students about the machines involved in the information age. As computers, cloud programming, and mobile devices become more important to this world, the world needs more people to understand these concepts. Technology literacy gives students the basic information they need to understand what gadgets perform what tasks and why. Now, if you compare this to the last page, which was about adaptive thinking, this is exactly related to adaptive thinking. Now, for life skills, there's flexibility, which means deviating from plans as needed. Leadership, which means motivating a team to accomplish a goal. Productivity, which means maintaining efficiency in an age of distractions. And finally, social skills, which are crucial to the ongoing success of a person. Meeting and networking with others for mutual benefit. The rise of social media and instant communications have changed the nature of human interaction. Now, how do I develop these skills at home? Now, for this, I talked about how I develop these skills at home, but you could do something similar to it. I haven't practiced all these skills at home. Some I have done and some I have not done, but still I'll give you some relevant examples of how I do at home. For critical thinking, I play chess with my father and try to think of different methods/strategies every time to win against him. To date, I haven't actually won against him, but someday I will. For creativity, whenever I do projects, I try to make it different from my classmates so I can make my work more creative. For collaboration, I could say this talk is a collaboration. We are collaborating and learning about different information. For information, media, and technology literacy, I don't rely on fake websites that display information that is unbelievable, like a website that says people clicked on this link and earn thousands of dollars? If there's true data, then I will rely on this website. Then for media literacy, I always try to get my information from a trustworthy site, like leading newspapers or TV channels. For technology literacy, I use various applications in my laptop and phone that improve my technology literacy. Now for flexibility, when I'm doing anything wrong and someone says it is wrong and teaches me the right way, then I will learn how to do that problem that specific way. For leadership, I don't have an opportunity right now, but whenever my family friends come, I look after their younger kids and make sure they do the right thing. For initiative, any work to be done, I start an hour before and finish it. For productivity, any work that is assigned to me, I try to finish it on time with quality. And finally, social skills, through Zoom, telephone, mobile, or Skype, I talk with my friends. I try to maintain my social connections as well as maintaining my network. Now, for the school education system, my views and opinion, and does the school education system alone effectively equip students to be work ready in the future? Well, today in 2020, schools are teaching the exact same subject matter as it was taught back in the 70s and 80s. Reading, writing, maths, science, history, and language. I mean exactly the same subjects, like they are just borrowing things. Problem solving, creative thinking, digital skills, and collaboration are in a greater need. And while our schools do touch upon digital skills, they focus on how to use technology rather than how to create it. Skills such as dealing with failure, decision-making, strategic planning, productivity, flexibility, teamwork, thinking skills, and effective outside communication also needs to be widely adopted and fostered in schools and included in the curriculum. This will prepare us for success in the 21st century work environment. In most countries, including Australia, this is already being included in its curriculum. However, priority is limited and quite inconsistent. Now, the responsibility is upon us as students as well to constantly stay abreast with skills that are required to set foot into work industry. This can be achieved via interactions with our friends, family, and of course, via virtual webinars like these, and reading with understanding. Now, online learning at home, various tools and options. These are various options and tools available today for online learning at home. I put here some few examples. Fuse is mainly for teachers, where they can view the teaching materials. Global 2 is a blogging site where teachers and students can leave a comment. And video conferencing like Zoom, Skype, Microsoft Teams are self-explanatory, where you just interact with people using screens, like this one now. And digital learning apps are apps that teach you things. Some examples for digital learning apps are apps such as Style and EduPerfect, which pretty much is a science app, and that's a language app. Now, what are the pros and cons for online learning? Well, let's see. For the pros are it builds self-discipline and responsibility. Online teaching is convenient, so you don't have to rush to the school or wait for strangers to come home to teach you. Increased flexibility. You're doing some work, you can hold the work and attend to other work, unlike schools where if you're in one subject, you have to do that in one subject during that expected amount of time. It's also easy access, even when you're traveling or you're in a different country. It's an opportunity for students to communicate with each other in different ways, which will also enhance the students' literacy skills. And for the cons, it's lack of real face-to-face interactions. So like, for example, when you're not like sitting right next to each other, we're just communicating using laptops. There's overtime. Online learning alone could tend to be boring. And the authenticity problem. Anyone can do a project rather than the actual student himself or herself, which is why it has a few problems there. Thank you, and hope you all enjoyed my presentation. Thank you, Harpita and Harpit, for giving me this opportunity, and you guys are doing a wonderful job.
Okay, thank you so
Thank
much,
you.
Karish. And as you said, this session itself is a collaboration, and that's right, because not only will we take away knowledge and information from this, but also the skills that we are developing in the process. That is communication skills, the ability to listen and comprehend. So once again, thank you so much.
So next we have Pranav from India. You can go ahead.
Okay, I think you can disable screen sharing.
Oh, right.
Okay, now we have Pranav from India. You can go ahead.
Wait, I'll just share my screen.
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Right. So, a lot of us right now are facing the harshness of the coronavirus pandemic. But if you really think about it, this pandemic is actually a blessing in disguise. Because sometimes, as a world, we often have the tendency to look at things the wrong way, look at it from a negative attitude. But if you think about it, there's actually a lot of ample opportunities out there to perfect ourselves. And we don't need an outside life to do that. Everything can come home. In fact, I would like to call this not this life skill class, but the life skill is the digital revolution. So let's look at this. I love this quote. It's actually influenced my life majorly. If you don't like something, change it. If you don't like something, change it. If you can't change it, change your attitude by Maya Angelou. And in this presentation, I like to speak about the main life skill we all need, not a hard skill or soft skill, but a very important skill called adaptation. And if you think about it, we all are very lucky to be living during these times because we may just have witnessed the biggest shift in our future, a story to tell for years to come. Adaptation is just like learning. It never ends. It's a process that goes on and on until you finally found what it really means. It teaches us to cope with the fast-paced world we live in today. The world is urbanizing at a very fast pace, and to cope with it, we all have to learn the different skills involved, and adaptation teaches us that very skill. And with everything coming out on the digital front, this can be also be called the digital era, where everything is either on our phones, laptops, or iPads. Everyone is going to become tech savvy. Students, teachers, educators, everyone. Everyone is coping up to learn with this in the pandemic. Now, with classes often having the prefix online, many students are finding the process of juggling with their schoolwork at home to be very hard. Sometimes you might be studying while behind that laptop screen, there might be a fight with vessels involved. You never know. So, to juggle with this difficulty, a lot of students find it very hard, but some people are trying to make this process very easy. Top educational platforms like Udemy, Kaltura, and Coursera are now uploading courses from top universities for students who have found difficulty in learning. There are a lot of 12th grade students who have graduated, but they yet haven't been able to go to college. So for them, this comes as a boon in disguise. Free courses sometimes, or even courses at lower prices, as Harpita mentioned. And now you can learn these courses not you don't have to go to a class, but you can learn them from the comfort of your own homes instead. And Jeff Calda, the CEO of Coursera, said that this may be the biggest digital revolution the edu sector has ever experienced. In fact, right now it's a great thing that the pandemic came now instead of earlier because we've been well equipped to face this pandemic and not earlier. We have enough resources to cope with it, and not just medical, but even electronic. And the most important part, I believe, of the entire life skill concept is, especially in this pandemic, is that of virtual ethics. With everything coming online, students are highly likely to be prone to the dangers of the digital revolution. Well, the internet might be a go-to solution, but it's also the main cause for cybercrime. Students succumb to many problems such as phishing, spam, Trojan horses, etc. And this is why I think more than anything, students should really be taught the art of virtual ethics, I believe, because this, in fact, adds as a bonus to students who are learning online. They learn to respect others' private spaces online and their own. In fact, I think apart from all this, the main thing involved is that students learn to cope with the online digital revolution, and in the process, they ease the process for others as well. Now, I believe the main thing involved with say life skills or learning from home doesn't involve just education. In fact, learning is a lot more than that. Learning can even be learning to wash your own clothes, learning to cook, learning to clean. It can be anything. And these are all life skills because there are many people who when they grow up in their childhood, they've been spoon fed with everything, but after they grow up and they move out and go somewhere, they often find it hard to take care of themselves. So life skills often act as something we don't learn just for temporary purposes, but for life. In fact, life skills, I believe, the most important thing people should learn. And as the previous speakers mentioned about how subjects have been same for a long time, I believe life skills should be added as a subject because it's the most important subject of all, apart from anything. And one main life skill people should learn now, or at least try to perfect, is communication. Because communication, if you think about it, is very hard to do when you do it virtually instead of in person. Because sometimes anything you say might be recorded without context. Sometimes while texting, you might mean something, but your tone might convey a completely different emotional expression. So I believe communication is something many students and people in general should learn to perfect, because communication is everything now. If we don't communicate, we could lose out on uh, a lot of opportunities. Communication can be big, can be small, but it really means a lot. And with that being said, I believe that life skills are very important. The skill of adaptation and the skill of ethics comes into play a lot compared to others. And I believe that life skills are not just for students, for everybody. And with the whole concept of learning coming home, this lockdown has brought us ample opportunities, and it is up to us to use them to our best. We can look at this pandemic from a negative attitude, but if we look at it if you look at the positives, it would really help us a lot. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Pranav. I think that during a situation like this, because of the COVID-19, a lot of schools are taking their classes online, and this could continue on for weeks or even maybe months. So as you mentioned, virtual ethics, I think students should definitely be aware of that. So thank you so much for sharing that with us.
Thank you.
All right, next we have Sumanvi from Australia. You can go ahead. So Pranav, could you disable screen sharing?
One question.
Yeah, sure.
Yes, could I ask this to Pranav?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
Sure. So, just asking, I remember when you said about how like students can contact each other, like for example, communicate with each other. So, what apps can be used for students to communicate with each other? Since in Australia, we just communicate with the teacher, but we can't really do any projects to like as groups since it's slightly difficult.
Could you repeat that again? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Just asking, so, like what apps could we use to communicate with other students as a group?
There are a lot of apps to communicate, really. In fact, if you're communicating with multiple people, you could use Zoom as well, but there are many apps on the whole.
Yep. Thank you.
Try Microsoft Team. That's very effective app for group meetings.
Thank you.
All right, so I think we can move on to our next speaker, and that is Sumanvi from Australia. So
Can I share my screen?
Yeah, sure.
Sure.
So this is a bit about me. Have you ever come across the term 21st century skills? Well, does it seem weird to you that no one ever actually takes the time to explain what it really means? So today, we'll learn what it is. There are 12 skills that we mainly learn about.
They're divided into 3 groups. Learning skills. This is something that I also call as the 4 C's. These include creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. These skills help you to adapt flexibly and improve in your workplace. You can also adapt to any situation that you encounter in your path. Our next category of skills is called literacy skills. I also like to call them as IMT skills. All these skills deal with students reading and understanding of the information that they see online. The first one is information literacy. This means that you understand what information that you see online, whether it's a newspaper article or maybe even a blog that you see from a source the same day. Media literacy means you are understanding how the sources are publishing it and whether it's a reliable source or not. Technology literacy is basically understanding the machinery and the hard work and the kind of information that revolves around it. Literacy skills help students become savvy information consumers combined with our last category, which also helps us to become challenging thinkers in the age of the internet. Life skills. The last category that we'll be looking at is called life skills. You can also call them as flips. These life skills include flexibility, leadership, initiative, productivity, and social skills. These skills are the skills that help students that students can use as they go through their lives dealing with technology in a variety of ways, whether it's in their personal lives or the professional lives. These skills help students for decades and will never and can use them in very different situations. How does school help us achieve these skills? In Australia, there are 3 different ways that schools help us achieve these 21st century skills. But in their curriculum, Australia has application-based activities where we don't just learn about theory and just memorize what we learn, but they also teach us how to use it in practical life and tell us where we can use it, which is really helpful, as if you come across when you encounter this, you will know where to use it and it won't go useless. Masterclass. We also have talks given by experts and also meet and greet sessions. Once I had a maths professor in my school, and we got to interact with her and know what are some skills that we should use, and she really told that these 21st century skills are really going to be useful in life, and she also gave us some examples. An example of meet and greet was when Elise Perry came to our school and she told us how we should learn these skills and why they're really important. Assessments are basically a scenario, and then you develop these assessments are basically, they give you a scenario and then you demonstrate it through a project. And we even work in groups to improve your leadership and accountability skills. The pros and cons of online learning. First, let's talk about the pros. Ease of access. You have access to material all the time always. Even if you're looking back at your worksheet that you did in class, after this class is done, you can still go and access it whenever you want, even if you have any doubts about it. Increased flexibility. Increased flexibility means that you can study wherever you want and however you want. This doesn't mean that you have a lot of workload, but it just means that you get to choose how and where you study. You do not have any limitations for this. Increases self-direction. Self-direction is a very vital skill that many people that we really need for the future, and online learning really assists us with it. If the teacher doesn't reply quickly, you have to assume something and just continue with it. This will really be important in your future. In every situation, as we know, there are cons. So let us look at some of the cons that online learning. Technology problems and requirements. Not all people have access to different devices for every single person. If you have a sibling, you might have to share between both of them. And even internet issues can come, and which is a really major bummer. Little or no face-to-face dialogue. You don't get to interact with a teacher, and this is a big this is a major bummer, because sometimes if your teachers that you get to understand it more better, and you can't actually, but when in online learning, sometimes the internet issues come and you can't you can't actually see your teacher face to face. Lack of peer interaction. You actually learn from your peers, and when someone asks a question, you don't have to keep asking it. Whereas in online learning, if someone asks a question, you have to keep asking it, and you can't really learn from your peers, even if you have a Zoom meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Samanvi. That was quite a good presentation. All right, now, so coming towards the end of this session, I think that we all know that the world we live in now is growing constantly and definitely evolving rapidly. And there are a lot of these advanced concepts being introduced, and that actually reminds me, there's a lot going about artificial intelligence and coding for kids. And that brings me to a really important point here, which is that even though students might be able to, maybe even kids, maybe at the age of 5 or even 7, they might be able to program an app or maybe, build an algorithm and stuff. But really, it's really important that we bring our focus to developing and enhancing your life skills first. Because though these technological skills are great, because they are useful, though, as you said, technology is definitely advancing. But if we don't develop or enhance our life skills first, we can't really expand or, expand our skill set, that is. So by developing these life skills first from an early age, I think that it'll probably make a positive impact on our future. So once again, thank you everyone for joining today's session. It was amazing. Thank you to all the speakers who presented today. Thanks to Lagnesh, our guest speaker, for coming today. And we actually have a question for you, Lagnesh, if that's okay with you. All right, so basically, I think you know that you're studying in the UK right now. So what advice would you give to students who are looking to study abroad?
Well, first of all, I'm actually not studying in UK. I'm in UAE right now.
Oh, right now.
Later on, I'm moving to UK. Not now.
Okay.
Well, one little advice I would give for people who want to study abroad. Is that what your question is?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, it's obviously better to actually go do your education abroad. I mean, it gives you more exposure as to it's more diverse. There's more of diversity if you go abroad, and yeah, I'm not saying that doing your curriculum in India, I mean your education in India is bad, but end of the day, it's you becoming a better person as to being all-rounder. Yeah, you see, so that really helps you if you go do your education abroad than in India. In India, yeah, it is. You have the best education in India, actually, but when it comes to your life, it's better if you actually do your education abroad. See. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that with us, Lagnesh.
Basically, now we meet the end of our session. Thank you everyone for participating in the second session of the Classminds Campfire series. We found all your insights to be quite significant and hope you took away some valuable information from the session.
So thank you to all the speakers who participated today. Thank you to all the participants as well. We hope you found this session useful. And we're definitely looking forward to having a lot more speakers in our next session. That is the joy of learning. So if you'd like to apply as a speaker, you can definitely contact us. I think Harpreet will leave the contact details in the chat below. So once again, thank you so much everyone for participating in today's session. I hope you found it useful and also took away some valuable points as well. So we look forward to meeting you all in our next session. See you everyone.
Guys, this is such a great effort taken up by you young students for spreading such awareness and knowledge to people around the world. Hats off to you all. All of you did a great job, and it was very thoughtful of Harpreet and Harpreeta to actually, initiate such a webinar. It's great job. Keep it up, both of you. And wish you all the very best for your future. Try to stay safe, stay healthy, and stay home. Okay. Thank you once again.
Right.
Thank you.
Okay, once again, thank you to everyone for joining today's session. See you, and we'll see you in the next session. Right. See you, everyone.
Bye.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Yep.
See you guys.
Bye.
And good night.
I guess I'll leave.
Stop